All right, we are live. Welcome, everybody, to another Turbonomic Labs live session. This is always an enjoyable part of my day. I hope that you folks enjoy it as much as I do. I know we've actually got a lot of great feedback from everybody so far on the content we've covered. And with so many really cool new things that are happening right now, it's particularly important that we really get a chance to explore and dig in. So we've kind of got two sides of the world when it comes to Turbonomic Labs. And so if you're brand new, of course, I should start by introducing who that guy is. That's right. My name is Eric Wright. I'm the technology evangelist and director of technical marketing here at Turbonomic. So if you want to get connected, you can always find me on Twitter. That's the easiest way. That Twitter handle is always active. You can connect on LinkedIn as well. Always do appreciate when folks do connect. If you have any questions and follow-up stuff, of course, you can drop them right into the comments, whatever platform you're on. So we are broadcasting right now live on LinkedIn Live. We've got YouTube. We also are on Periscope. So we're everywhere except TikTok. We haven't done TikTok yet. So I'll practice my TikTok dancing and we'll work on that one. Turbonomic Labs. Every Tuesday, when we broadcast on our Turbo Tuesdays, is going to be around Turbonomic family of platforms. And that's kind of why it's a special day today. First of all, you probably saw recently that we actually had our folks from Park My Cloud on. So Chris Parlett, who's just such a fantastic human, and I'm proud to be able to work with him. He joined us to talk about Park My Cloud, which is part of the Turbonomic family. We also are going to be coming up soon. We're going to be doing more with Sev1. So we've actually had Sev1 as part of the Turbonomic family as well. It's really cool to see all these platforms come together. And with that, this is why today is especially neat, because today we get to share something brand new that is in fact a wholly new platform, which has been brought to the market with a co-engineering collaboration with our Sev1 team and the Turbonomic engineering team. So this is something that's really cool. And in fact, if you head over to the Turbonomic site, you'll see we actually just updated our website as well. And with that, let's just jump in. I'll actually go there and we'll talk about what that is here. Oops, helps if I can spell the company right. Turbonomic.com. There we go. That's how you can tell things are live. So if you go to the Turbonomic website right now, you're going to see platform. So as you may know, of course, the Turbonomic platform has been around solving the problem of application resource management. So we call it our ARM platform. ARM is what you'll see a lot of times when we refer in documentation and such. And of course, with the Sev1 team, we introduced and we now have part of this family, the leading NPM in the industry. So being able to do incredible things at massive cloud and service provider scale with the Sev1 data platform. And now, as a beautiful pairing of these two engineering teams and these two platforms, now we introduced the Turbonomic Data Cloud. This is described today as the performance data warehouse for AI ops. What it really is, and I'll walk you through exactly what it looks like in the platform, is it's continuing to evolve. It's available if you wanted to try it out and you want to see a demo. You can actually go right now to the Turbonomic website and you can just click on that little green button there, request a demo, and you'll be able to see it in a much more sort of interactive long form demo. But the goal of this is ultimately to make sure that we can take all this incredible rich data that we've already got in your environment and bring it into a place where you can explore that data with high granularity from diverse data sources. And because it's paired right now and we're delivering to Turbonomic customers, we automatically tag and ingest all data from your Turbonomic platform. So everything that you have that Turbonomic is managing, it automatically brings all that data over and keeps it with this incredibly high granularity and high cardinality across all these different diverse sources, and then presents it with a 13-month retention timeline. And it gives you a chance. We'll dig in and we'll show you exactly what it looks like. If I think of the reason why we want to do this, right? I know this because this is the environments that I used to run. We've got two things, right? Today we've got real time. So what's going on right now? And that's where we're seeing the value of ARM and the Turbonomic platform. But even there, sometimes there's stuff that may not necessarily be resource related. And you may want to have other tools to say, like, hey, what's going on in my environment? How can my dev team, my ops team, my app ops team, my network ops team, like, all have a place to go to get on the same page? And this is really the goal. So we'll walk right now the current release. This is a SaaS platform, which is super cool. So it's literally it takes 3 steps, really quick configuration changes, which I walk through in a video on this page. How to get it set up to turn on the collector from your Turbonomic platform. And we also have native support for Prometheus metrics. So that means that you've got immediate availability to be able to stream Prometheus right to your data cloud for really, really high speed ingestion. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, there's some screenshots and there's some content in there that talks about some of the basic features. But I thought the best way to do it, since it's Turbonomic Labs, let's get in the lab and let's actually see it in action. So this is the home screen for your Turbonomic Data Cloud platform. And the real key thing that you get right away is we wanted to surface, and this is based on tons of great customer feedback in the early access program, and as we went through the development with our development partners, to be able to say, like, what are top issues? And I know this because, like I said, when I run a data center, I've got to think about, number one, right? Do I have quick access to the information that I need to help me make data backed decisions? So this is where we have out of the box dashboards, which are ready for you to go. And in fact, we're going to keep adding these because based on your feedback, we can add more and more because it's a SaaS platform. So everybody wins. The more we develop and the more we innovate, everybody wins. So we have application performance views to get that beautiful top down understanding. We've got bottom up views, right? So one of the most common problems in virtualization is CPU, struggling with ready queue in the virtualization environment for VMware, or just generally CPU queuing, right? So to be able to immediately look and say, what are the top VMs that are being affected by ready queue and the top hosts that are suffering from it? It's not easy to do. And so I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Being able to jump in and do troubleshooting. So knowing I've got a specific problem with the VM and how do I tackle that? And then really good stuff like finding out where you've got wasted storage that's just hanging around unutilized and in fact impacting performance and capacity. But really the value is about knowing the applications, right? Because when you get a call from your service desk or from a customer call, or you look at your tools, where what matters to you is you say, hey, like, I've got a problem with webmail, not with SQL 98 or Web 42. You may know the server names, but the first thing you want to be able to do is immediately get to the applications. So everything in Turbonomic that's coming in from our APM partners, from our own Apex features, which are brand new, are going to be featured in this view. And so you're going to see these business applications views. And then from the bottom up, again, like if I look and what are the virtual machines in my environment that are at the highest possible risk? So if I open up, now this is incredible because there's a huge amount of data that's underneath all this. And now what you've got is to be able to see today, even in this moderate sized environment, we got a handful of business applications which are defined. And we also have the ability to stretch out over the course of time. Remember, this is the idea of this performance data warehouse. We call it our time machine, for your application infrastructure. And I also like the flight recorder, in the same way that we want nothing to go wrong, but when something does go wrong, you want to be able to have a very deep dive view of all the analytics and all the performance that caused that thing to occur. So we pull it back, we change the view over the last couple of days, over the last 7 days, right? We can just stretch out those views and you can see as applications come online and go offline, they will appear because the data will be based on what's in your environment. So especially if you're running containers, it's crazy because containers will come and go. Well, if you go to any of the traditional monitoring tools today, they're gone by the time you can actually see what happened. not here, right? We actually capture and maintain and keep that information, and not only the information about the analytics, but the entire understanding of the supply chain of resources. So if I have a container in here that's supporting an app, I know where the container is, what virtual machine it sat on, what cloud it was on, whatever it is. I have all of that captured at any point in time over 13 months. So when I look and I were to pick, we get the call. There's been a problem with webmail. And we can take a look over the course of the last few days and say, okay, well, based on this, what's going on, right? So if I look and I see there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and then we can now be able to really, really get these deep data views. And it's Grafana is the front end for it, so which is one of the most popular in the industry for interactive dashboards. So we're proud to be able to work with the Grafana team and do some fantastic stuff with them. So what you're doing is you can now go in and see at the top applications, right? So this is real things like response time and transaction throughput. And you can go through, if you wanted to narrow down, just look at one field versus the other. Super easy to be able to focus in on the information that matters to you. All of the resources at any point in time. So whatever the selection is, you can see what resources are supporting it and whether they were at risk. And if you wanted to, you can even actually drill through, and we'll show that in a second. But you see what we've got going on here. Obviously, something's happened. So we just grab this section and we drill in. And now two things have happened. Number one, we've scoped our view immediately to be able to say, here's the time frame that I need to look at because I need to know what's happening here. On top of that, you'll see that all of the other views are changing automatically in the same time. So what's happening now is that as you look at the performance that's going on and issues that are application issues, it's also telling you, as you can see by the line below, exactly what the resourcing was at any point in time. So as you see these, you'll notice these dips tend to line up with other activities. So we go down, we look, and we say, aha, okay. So I've got an AWS service on that's supporting my webmail, which seems to be having sporadic issues, right? So I can click through, drill in on specific resources, or just look overall, and especially this app. It's got a ton of stuff in here. Right? Odds are you've got a lot of virtual machines and a lot of virtual applications that have many, many services that support each other. So now to be able to understand at any point in time the exact utilization of every resource, and you literally did nothing. It was automatically tagged for you and brought in. And the tagging it's actually amazing. So we actually built this platform from the ground up underneath it. And because it's SaaS, we've built it to scale without you having to worry about it, which is really fun. So that now we can just jump in. We can say, hey, okay, let's get really close in and see what's going on here. Right. So now we look, we see the general response time. We're over a second response time. If you've used any web apps, that's not cool. Well, as we see, we can start to now correlate what's gone on where we're seeing changes in transactions, changes in response time, looking at the resources, and you can see what it is that we've got resources that are struggling, that are part of this application. We can go to the specifics, but what's really cool, hold on to your hats. This is the fun part. So down here, you're also seeing the performance risks. And these are the actions that are actually coming right from your Turbonomic platform. So what'll happen is you can see is like, oh, we've got a lot of actions that come up. And then because those actions maybe weren't taken, and you can see where those actions were present and what resources, then if those actions aren't automated or aren't taken, then you see, the impact that occurs. So as we get through and, look over here, here's another example, right? We've got, even though it looks like we're consistent, we've got a lot of resourcing contention, which ultimately is going to affect not just this app, but every other app that's a part of it. So when I look at, particular machines here, let's grab this host. So you drill in on the host and you can see now all of the very specific resources on that host across that point in time, and be able to drill in and say, okay, well, I can see what's happening here. We've got extremely high memory utilization. So we're at 96% memory, right? So you now down to the host layer. And it's just that easy. Take a look at one of the services and see all of the analytics that are coming from here. See another host that's part of it. Like you've got containers or virtual machines that are spread across, or if it's out in the cloud, right? This is what's really, really tough to do today, because even if you've got APM, if you're using these other tools, well, that's interesting, but you have to build all this stuff yourself. You have to glue the resourcing. This is literally nothing was done except to turn on the collector on Turbo, and you've got this data coming in here. So now you know exactly what's going on. Same thing. I want to drill back, say, well, let's take a look over a longer period. Oh boy, right? So to be able to zoom in, narrow down, really, really high response time. And now that's your ability to go through across any point in time. So that's the application drill downs, being able to see exactly what's going on. And then the next piece is, what if I wanted to take a look from the bottom up? Like I said, this is a really common problem in your virtualization stack, that VMware allowed us to commoditize the sharing of infrastructure. But what it didn't do was actually solve the problem of performance. So now I can see where there's risks at the host layer for continuous CPU queuing and high ready queue lengths. And then at the virtual machine, which ones are the most impacted by this? And now I know, where I need to go to look at the other risks. And the same thing that occurs, right? If I see a machine that's giving me difficulty, you can immediately go through, jump in to your VM troubleshooting mode. And this is my, like, the war room sort of situation, or pre-war room, right? You hear the call, there's a problem. Well, you take a look, at a machine, and let's just grab one. Well, actually, let's look at the one we've got right here, right? So this one here, we want to take this out. We can see it's actually a short-lived machine. So this is potentially a container, whatever it's going to be. So we didn't need to add agents. We didn't need to do anything. But I know now that, okay, based on this point in time, here's the view that I need. So I drill through, and now I can see where was the demand, on the CPU side, where was contention. And, you'll notice, right? As the demand increases, we saw the contention increase. Memory was flat. And what we understand now is that if there's an application issue, we now have this beautiful flight recorder. So you can go back and drill in and see more of kind of what's going on. So we go through, remember we had our webmail. Let's grab one of our, let's grab another web application. Okay, so here's another classic situation. Now, what we see is not only the virtual machine, but we're seeing where the issues occurred, where there's actually storage latency. And that storage latency, what you'll see, is also causing other bottlenecks. So if I look, memory as it continues to spike starts to align where we have high memory, and then it ultimately, we've got CPUs, memory all fighting. They go down, they potentially start swapping. And once it starts swapping, then you're going to see the impact of storage latency. Or the reverse. What if storage latency ultimately is causing problems further up that stack? And so this is why you want to be able to drill in. Let's grab another one here. I always like when something says do not touch in there. And to just be able to jump into any machine in your environment and literally look, like there's all of the environments. Like I didn't need to go in and create all of my agents. I didn't need to create groupings. They were automatically developed for me. So now I know that if I drill in, we saw machines that are old, so maybe they haven't had any activity for a while. We've got content that's current. Whatever we choose, we're able to immediately just jump in and see all of the information, and then to see all of the over the course of time. And that's, if you think about that classic situation where I want to be able to say, one of the biggest ones is I've got an application that's suffering. And because that application's suffering, I want to drill in and see what's going on inside it. So I go and I choose my app. So I pick my app and I drill in. Now, this one is a custom app. So we're actually building a custom application with our Apex features. So we don't even need to be able to see specifics of data because we already know what the relationships are. So now we know all the resources that are feeding that are ultimately causing risk and contention. And then you stretch it out over time. And now here we go, right? We start to see more data come in. And so as we add and get more analytics that pour in, you now have across that point in time, because there's going to be points where, well, maybe the application actually just came online. Maybe it was shut down for, our lab is a great example. We power down most of our environment over the weekends automatically. So we actually have our Turbonomic does shuts down hosts and shuts down VMs that are set based on tags. So we automatically shut everything down, bring it back up. We do the same thing with Park My Cloud for our cloud infrastructure. So now I know that, for that period of time, we know there's nothing going on because we actually had it powered off. But when it comes back on, right, what happens? I know not only what's going on in the application layer, but I can see each application, the resources that are ultimately feeding it, and any potential risks. And so you've got that view of at any point in time, where was this machine? Where was this container? How is that performing? And that's the power of having this data so that you can do all the stuff with it. And if we look at the overall app performance view, same thing. Like I said, you just jump in, right now in the last 6 hour period, are there any risks or SLO violations? And so this allows you to jump in and drill down, grab a machine that you need, even if it's a single machine. Not a lot to it. However, so you wouldn't have APM necessarily attached to this. You may be able to just target it directly using Turbo. And that data is automatically brought in because it's tagged for you. The tagging is really slick. And the reason why I highlight that a lot is because all of this information, if you wanted to and do more, right, you have the ability to go in and create custom dashboards. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to have a dashboard workshop coming up in future. I don't want to get deep into it right now because it'll probably be a little bit overwhelming to see all this stuff. We want to take in, where we are right now. And if you've got any ideas for kind of content that you look for, like what are the top reports you love to see? We can actually go in, and the cool thing is you can even look at other dashboards which are there. We can look whether it's a Prometheus source. We can look across different clouds. We can do an exploration based on resources. And then we can just grab and create a set of custom dashboards. So in this case, we've got the default. These are the general ones that you actually saw, which was that app resource drill down. So when I pick one, we can create that. And then the neat thing here is then you can ultimately, drill into a particular dashboard and you can actually go through, you can check the settings, you can add panels, you can customize. So you've got the ability now to go in. If you set annotations on it, this is also much more like as you mark a point in time, you could say serious outage. We can actually mark the data there and that data is retained. So there's a ton more. That's kind of the deeper dive into some of the extended features. But at the very least, we want to walk through. When I go in today, I turn on my collector. I immediately start streaming data. You can see up here that the collector's connected. We can see how many indicators per second, which is the amount and the data that's being ingested. So this is going to be varying depending on what your environment looks like. You can immediately, pick a machine where you see, there's something going on. Let's grab that machine and immediately go to it and say, okay, well, we've potentially got performance issues. We've got some good bumps, but take a look down here, right? We see there's efficiency actions in this case. So we actually have an opportunity where we could potentially scale down. So it's unnecessary because we may have other contention that's being caused by the resources this machine is taking, but it's not actually using. And it's very, very cool to, again, have that depth of granularity, grab a machine, see what's going on at any particular point in time, and to be able to relate it to what's the actual problem. And if you see, then there's those turbonomic actions. And then you would go over and you can now, at this point, go through and say, when I go into my actual machine itself, then we jump over to the turbonomic interface and we'll be able to see, oops, how it relates, right? So we have this top-down view. So I know there's my mobile banking app. We're seeing average response time bump up. So now you could go back over and you could choose that machine. You find out, okay, inside my banking app, what's it made of? I look at the actions that are available. So I've got moves, I've got resizes, and here's an example. So I know automatically that supply chain and relationships is already built for me, and that then comes over here. Or if I go in and I choose, we'll grab the whole view here. I've got my mobile banking app, and now I'm seeing the services, I'm seeing the resources. So now I'm going to be able to go through, back that out a bit. Let's go to a 24-hour time window. So I'm going to see over the course of time, so that maybe it was a weekend, maybe it was last week, right? If I want to look and say, what if over 30 days, I've heard there's a problem that's going on. Well, we can see what's gone on here, right? Over this period of time, we had an incredible amount of usage. Yet the resource utilization is you can see a variety of things that are happening. So now I can drill in and say, okay, what happened here? Obviously something's gone on. So if I look at that, all right, let's take a look down here. We see utilization. We see mobile wallet is one of the services that really bumped up. Talk to the app team and they say, oh yeah, that's when we deployed the new wallet. And so email went out and you can see, so at 9 o'clock in the morning, everybody grabbed their phone because they got that email, they clicked the button and they said, let me check out this new mobile wallet that I've got, and whammo, right? So now exactly what happened, when it happened, like this incredible flight recorder for performance. And now that gives you the data as well to go to your team and say, hey, based on this, what we're seeing is that there's potential risk that's going on in the environment. And here's the services that are suffering because they may not have that insight and they definitely don't have, with any of the APM tools, an understanding of the resource risks down below. So that is our new platform. There's a ton more that we're going to get into in future. We didn't want to overload everybody today, but I wanted to share this brand new platform. So like I said, if you want to find out more, just head over to turbonomic.com. You can go to the platform performance data warehouse, and there's that nifty request demo button. Click that. You'll be able to actually see this in action. You'll get connected up. And if you want to find out more, you can always, of course, jump in, drop a question in through our panels, interact through email. We've got lots of ways to communicate. And of course, please do come back. We've got a lot of stuff that's gone on here recently. Big thanks as well. We had a lot of really great feedback for our cloud, how to properly and right size your environment in the clouds. We had a ton of great new cloud features, which are part of Turbonomic 8, which is in public preview as we speak. So if you're watching live, we've got a lot going on, and it's a great thing. So huge congratulations to all of the engineering team and all of the folks who are part of the Turbonomic family, and to all of you as our customers and folks that are with the platform and are watching us and helping us to give great feedback. So do come back. Make sure, of course, you hit subscribe if you can, because that helps us to make sure that when there's new stuff coming up. it's good for us to be able to sense that who's going, which is great. Thank you very much. We're watching. Lots of people are jumping in. We've got more interactive content. We did the couch to cloud native. I'm going to do another longer form session. In fact, we're going to go classroom style. So I'm going to be setting up some online labs. If you want to find out more, go to turbonomic.com/labs. Keep your eyes on that page. We're going to have new things coming up. And of course, like I said, you can always find me. Just drop me a line there. I'm open DMs on Twitter. You can send me an email. I'm eric.wright@turbonomic.com. And we'll see all of you again at another time at Turbonomic Labs. Have a great day.